Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday evening. I'm about to crochet. I'm Carolyn, and I'm autistic, AUDHD, and I love to crochet and talk about deep things. And thanks for being here. Okay. Okay, let's see. This. All right. So, aw, there's Scarlet. Ooh, my hair. Oh, boy. Scarlet is my rescue. She is a breeding dog at a puppy mill. She was a breeding dog at a puppy mill, and poor things had a really rough go of life. Oh, and there's Sachi. That's my other little doggy. I got Sachi, which is short for Versace. She was supposed to be my emotional support pet. And dear goodness, does she ever require so much more support than I do. So, you want to come here? Okay. So she is a very, very sweet little doggy, but she is extremely nervous and she requires more care, I think, than I do. But I think because I love her so much and I have so much patience with her, I think it's helped me to heal some of my own trauma. My kids and I look at her and we can't believe that she's actually real, like that she has feelings and needs, and she's not just a little stuffed animal. So I think she's pretty darn cute. Right, Sachi? Pretty cute. I could crochet her something. I've considered it too. I should crochet when it gets colder out. I'll have to make her a little sweater or something really cute. Maybe some little fancy matching outfits for both of the girls. So we've got a little salt and pepper little doggy. Oh, I'm tired. It is so hot in Philadelphia, at least, probably in most of the country right now. But it is a toasty one. So I'm going to take the girls out for a WALK in a little while, but not right now because it is just too hot. Thank you guys so much for joining. All right, so I am in the process of making a hexagon cardigan. It's toasty. Okay, so I am making this little guy here. And if you don't know what a hexagon cardigan is, let me just first explain. So you take two panels that you stitch up, so you can see like in the armpit here. Let's see. You see. Okay. Right. So here you can see that there is a little hexagon, and when you fold up one of the sides, it becomes a sleeve. And if you fold the entire thing up, you take one sleeve and you add it to the other one, and you seam it down the back. And you've got yourself a cardigan. So that's what I am making right now. I've got one that I've already completed. And This is the other one that I was making, and I love it so much. It's still just way too hot to be making cardigans and wearing cardigans, but that's okay. A few other things that I have made is this this little bralette kind of top. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of support in it, so I don't really love that very much. I'm going to have to figure out how to make it more supportive. All right, my hair is just a complete mess, and I am mirrored here, so I can't see what is happening. But all right. So yeah, I'm gonna get started on this little guy. Alexa, shuffle. Hmm. Okay. I won't shuffle music. How's everyone doing right now? I'd love to know where you are joining from. I live in Philadelphia, and but I am Canadian, and I immigrated here. Oh, that's good. I immigrated to this country over the last couple years, and well, there's just a lot going on right now. And so I feel like crochet is a really great way for me to not doom scroll constantly and worry about things that I have no control over. So I learned how to crochet. And I only actually picked up the crochet hook in February. So it hasn't taken like that long to be able to get the skills required to make even just a cardigan. But what I love so much about crochet, especially if you are autistic or have ADHD, it's like the perfect hobby because you have the perfect amount of freedom to create whatever project you want. So you can be, so for the ADHD part of me loves novelty. And so I can make whatever I want, and I love that. But then the autistic part of me loves predictability and loves knowing that I can just kind of go on auto. And so I think crochet is really amazing for that too, because you could just, I mean, once you get started in something like this, so this is all just the same stitch going around and around. It is a granny cluster, and that is basically 3 double crochets. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so we're gonna do this little cluster. Okay, so you do yarn over your hook. You're gonna go into the space from below, and then yarn over, you pull through 2, yarn over, you pull through the other 2. So that's the first one. And then you go over your hook, insert, pull through 2, pull through 2. So you just finish your second, pull through 2. Okay, so I just did the 1 triple or double crochet. So once you know how to make that 1 stitch, if you just keep going all the way around over and over, then you create what is the potential of a very lovely project. So I think that crochet, if you haven't already learned how to do it, is just so good. So good for your brain. It gives you just the right amount of balance between freedom and structure, which I know for me is extremely important. 1, 2. All right, so I had just put these 2 panels together yesterday, and now what I'm doing is I am going around with this red. Um, it was the color that had seamed the 2 panels down the center. So I'm coming around. And yeah, I had always knit when I was growing up. I knew how to knit, and I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of signs that I was autistic growing up, but I think a lot of things just kind of go under the radar. And knitting was something that I did, well, it was a special interest for sure. And everyone that I knew got blankets and scarves and a ton of different variations of rectangular and square projects. And what I love about crochet is that you have so much more freedom in what you can create. I mean, at the time, I will say I didn't really have access to a ton of patterns, but the idea that I can now make a cardigan basically just off the top of my head after having just picked up the crochet hook like 5 months ago, it's pretty awesome. Pretty happy about it. So you can learn everything that you want to learn about crochet is available online. There are some amazing tutorials, amazing videos if you're a visual learner. If you love a pattern, then you can also read patterns. But I love all of the beautiful YouTube channels that I have found for crochet enthusiasts. And I will not be teaching crochet. That is not what I do. But it is something that I love. And I think as an autistic person who can ruminate and who needs to always kind of be busy doing something, this is just a really good thing for me to put my phone down and to do something that is rewarding and meditative, occupies my brain. So I'd love to know, where are you watching from? I don't know if you can tell, but from the colors of my cardigan, I am inspired by the city that I live in right now. So I live in Philadelphia, and this is my Phillies-inspired MLB cardigan that we will not be able to get a lot of use out of right now because it is really hot, but come fall, this is going to be wonderful. So I think I'm just going around the corner, the edge. Yeah, okay. So I am at the bottom right now. Let's see if I can. Okay. All right, so I attached both of the panels in the back, and now I am doing this red trim, and I'm about to come up the front. So this is the front of it. You can see, hopefully you can see, this is the neckline. So the red is going to come up here and go around that side. So that's what I'm doing right now. So it's just a row of, see this red here? Okay, so I can just show. So the granny cluster, the triple or the 3 double crochets that you do, it's the exact same thing the entire way, except when you're doing a corner. Because when you're doing a corner, you need to do 1 chain, 2 chains, that's it. Yarn over, go back into the center, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and 3. And there we go. And now we created, let's see, created a little corner. You see, that was it. And now I'm just gonna keep on going all the way around. And there is a very good chance that I'm going to need more yarn soon. I'm just using inexpensive acrylic yarn. I am not a yarn snob. I have a lot of allergies. I don't really love all natural fibers. And so this is easy for me. It's easy to care for, and it's not scratchy. And I think this cardigan is going to take me roughly 6 skeins of yarn. And I might have to buy one or two more. So this cardigan, and thank you guys so much for joining. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. There are a lot of topics that I really enjoy discussing. My special interests as an autistic human include definitely fiber arts. I love crocheting, but also personality disorders and psychology. So I have had a lot of experience in some really awful psychopathic relationships. And I have learned so much that I really want to share with other people. But I understand that talking about abuse is a very heavy thing, and it's not always something that people want to hear. So while I don't mind talking about it, I can also just happily crochet. And I'll create content eventually about psychopaths. But since we're talking real quickly about it, this book, Psychopath Free, is like the best book if you've ever had a psychopathic relationship. That and Dr. Stephen Hassan, or Hassan, he does combating mind control, and his book really like saved my life when I read it, because I did not realize that narcissistic abuse and psychopathic abuse is basically a cult for one. And once you recognize the signs it's really hard to ignore them or to not see them everywhere. And I don't know if that is just because of my pattern recognition and autism. For the longest time, and I think the reason that I have an unusual amount of abusive relationships is because I did not know. I projected my goodness onto other people. And so I didn't know what I didn't know. And I kept inviting the exact same toxic and familiar relationships into my life, which just makes sense, right? Like I did not know everyone in my life was a narcissist until I realized everyone in my life was a narcissist. And that is very upsetting because I just kept thinking, if I tried harder, if I just shapeshifted a little more, if I just stopped having some needs, like if I just stopped having to care that I was unhappy, then I could just get along with everyone. And then I realized, oh gosh, all of these people who seem to gravitate towards me are all the same kind of person who are predators. And predators literally, just like the animal kingdom, look for prey. And there are some people who are targeted more than others. So now that I've gone on a little rant about this, maybe let's talk about the kind of people who get targeted more than others for abuse. Because it's not, if I talk to people about it and I say, okay, so my mother was a narcissist, my brother was a narcissist, I went to therapy to be able to handle my abuse, and I found a psychopathic doctor who realized I had zero healthy boundaries. And so it was very easy for him to then decide to take advantage of me and exploit me because I did not know any better. And um, was it me? Yes, because in the sense that I have always projected my goodness onto other people. So I honestly did not even realize that evil could exist in the way that it does. And I still to this day am still a little bit naive. I still very much project my own kindness and onto other people, and I keep getting fooled and duped. And so, yes, I have more and more experiences. Um, I was making a film. I'm at a film and acting school, and it's about the experience that I went through with my doctor because he is a actual psychopath. I reported him to the state, and when I reached out for help, I was told to look into all things documentaries about Ted Bundy, and that was the kind of person that I had um, been abused and manipulated and exploited by for like 7 years. And so I made a film about part of the fallout of that. Um, and the person that I asked to be the director on my film also tried to then coercively control the situation. And I only realized it after things had gotten too far. And why? Because I trusted him and I trusted that he would be a friend who would not screw me over. And so I have blind faith in people that I should not have. And I don't know if that is being autistic or being raised in a dysfunctional family. But I just, there's part of me that so desperately wants to believe that other people are good. And because I am, it's not like a self-righteous thing. I just have so much compassion and so much empathy. And I thought everyone else did too. And I keep learning, unfortunately, a little bit too late in life, that is not the case. And that the reason that I kept getting targeted is because I had all of this light and love and amazingness in me that they all wanted. And I was naive. My doctor even said that was one of the things that he liked about me as he was abusing me. Like, predators cannot help but tell on themselves. They get so proud, and if they don't have an audience for it, there's just sometimes that they're just going to share what they're doing, and they have to tell on themselves. And he would get giddy too. And he said that he loved how naive I was. And when he said that he loved how naive I was, at first I wasn't even offended. I thought, oh, that's lovely. Yes, I am. I am very whimsical, and I love life. So when he said, oh, I don't mean that in a bad way, I thought, oh, well, that's odd, because I wouldn't have even thought that it was a bad thing. So that's how naive I was. And when I reported, once I realized what was happening and I reported my doctor, then all of a sudden, all these other relationships that I had had started making more sense. And it was because I was making progress with another therapist that I was able to realize that what my first doctor had done, that it was very similar to everything that I had grown up with. And yeah, I just took on all the abuse. I just assumed it was all my fault. And if I just tried harder, then these people would knock it off. And they didn't. And so I'd love to be able to explore in the future how much more frequent it is for people who are neurodivergent to be exploited and be taken advantage of. Because honestly, one of the things the doctor asked while I was in therapy was, why was I not more upset with my father who had neglected me? And I said, because I think he did the best that he could. And when we know better, we do better. And that gave him all he needed to know about the kind of person I was, which is I was very forgiving, very loyal. Despite all of the harm that had happened to me, I still wanted to believe that the people in my life weren't doing it intentionally, that they weren't actually trying to hurt me. And now I am no longer disillusioned, and I realized that they were, in fact, trying to hurt me. Um, and I just couldn't, when you project yourself onto other people, I mean, for the longest time, I thought, oh, honey, it's okay. Because I'm Canadian, I always thought that all Canadians were also as nice as me, and I projected that part too. So I don't know. And I'm generous, but I can be generous to a fault also, which means that I very quickly can gravitate towards people that I shouldn't. All right, I've got my other corner. I think all I'm gonna do right now, because I'm getting really, really warm, I'm just gonna finish doing this last row back here, and then I'm probably gonna end it for a little bit because my dog sounds like she wants some attention. Oh, Sachi. It is so warm. Luckily, she just got her little haircut, so she's cooler right now. Let's see her. There she is. There she is. Growly little girl. Finishing off. So, let's see. Yeah. Being autistic and being ultra responsible, like I thought I'm very, very accountable. And so if I make a mistake, I do not have a problem admitting to it. I love knowing that if there's new information, then we can just change our mind. And based on that new information, like I'm very flexible. And I always thought other people were like that too. And now I'm starting to realize that that is a very unique quality. um, so I think I've just been really kind of disillusioned. I hate the idea that I, that I have to assume the worst in people until they prove me otherwise, because that feels very negative and pessimistic and cynical. And also, like, it's kind of the only way that I could actually protect myself, though, because I assume the good in people, and that is an issue. And then I am looked at as being naive or gullible. So I am in my protection era. I've got a very large circle of people in my life, but doing for others and just being so generous and not discerning is something that I am now trying to stop doing. I used to say yes to everyone. As soon as anyone needed something from me, I would take it as my responsibility to have to help someone else. And I think that was also just conditioning of being raised in abusive in an abusive home. Just never wanted anyone else to hurt the way I hurt. So that's kind of been my mission in life. And I became a family photographer so that I could take photos of children and show them that they had always been loved and they always belonged to something bigger than themselves. And I lived absolutely vicariously through that. I've been a photographer for the last 15 years, a Best of Philly photographer, so I'm very proud of that. And now I'm at the film and acting school that I'm currently at, so that I can bring these stories to the bigger screen. Um, there are a lot of experiences that happen to women, to neurodivergent humans, and our stories need to be told more. So I'm at my school right now. I've been there for 2 years, and I love it so much. Okay, I am almost done this here. Yeah, I found out at my school that there's so many people who mask, but in the exact opposite way that I do. So if I mask, it would be to not appear weird and to not get punished or not to get bullied. But then I found out that a huge percentage of the population, they mask, but it is to appear decent and generous and kind, and that their masks fall very, very quickly. And I see it a lot now at my school. And so there's just, I don't know, the world doesn't feel very, very safe right now. All right, let's see. I'm going to put this on and see how it looks. Okay, so I have now done the seaming. So yeah, I just learned how to crochet back in February. If you're just joining, my name is Carolyn, and I love to crochet. I love to stay busy doing arts and crafts. And it's gonna be really, really warm. This is my hexagon sweater that I still have all the sleeves that I'm gonna have to add to it, and still a lot more down the center. And let's see. I also made this little bag. Again, it's just the granny cluster. And then just round and round and round and round. I don't love these colors, so it's not my favorite, but it's the bag that I now use as my work in progress tote. So I bring this to school with me. I bring my crochet everywhere. It has become a little bit like a security blanket. And I'm very happy with it. So when I go to class, my acting classes are 3 to 4 hours long. And I could just, no, I don't think I could. I would not be able to pay attention as much if I just sat there watching. I think I would daydream, and I would fidget in other ways. So being able to bring my crochet stuff to class, I'm making cardigans, I am making projects that I get so many compliments on. There's one, I've got a cardigan, let me see if I can show you. That one that's on. I have gotten so many compliments when I wear that out. And people just love something that is handmade. So I highly recommend learning how to crochet. And if you do, I would love for you to be able to show me what you made. If you have any favorite projects, also, I'd love to hear. I am making one thing that I don't like right now. I bought fancy yarn. So I'm not a yarn snob, but I did go to a store that I had not been to in Philadelphia, and I bought this really pretty yarn. I love it so much. And I started making a top that I thought would be like a cover-up over a tank top, maybe. This would be the front panel. And then there'd be another one in the back. But I don't know if I love it. And it's really expensive yarn for me to be kind of just wasting on a project. I wish it looked prettier. I don't know if it's because it's too loose. Maybe it's also because I'm wearing black. If I had it over white, it might look better. But this is a fun stitch to do because it doesn't take that much time. All right, actually I'm gonna get on here. Okay, It works up so, so quickly. One thing that would not work up quickly if you are new to crochet is for instance, blanket made out of single crochet. That would take forever. But this, let me show you. Okay. So all you do is you wrap your yarn around your hook twice, and then you're going to go, there's a little spot in the row below, and this is a treble stitch, I believe. And so you go through 2, you yarn over, through 2, yarn over, through 2, and then you finish that. You do 1 chain, and then you just do the same thing over. 1, 2 over, go into the spot below, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. And so this project works up really, really quickly. I just don't know that I want, this is $30 for this silly little ball of yarn. I'm telling you, I am not at all pretentious when it comes to life. So if I spend $30 on a ball of yarn, I want to adore the project, and I don't think that I adore that project. I almost spent the same amount of money on this entire project, and that was 6 balls of yarn. Let's see, let's put this on. Okay. So this is the hexagon cardigan, one of them. So yeah, this took, this was 6 skeins of yarn. 6 times 30 would be $180. If I had made this at a fancy yarn, this would be, phenomenal. But also, I would be so scared. I wouldn't want to wear it. $42. So it was like $7 for a skein. $42 for this is much more reasonable. But that's why I wish I knew that I would love this project, because I don't mind continuing it if I'm going to love it. But I just don't know that I am. What else could I make with one? Maybe I'll just start over. Maybe I'll just make an actual tank top. This was a cover up. Maybe I'll just see, or like a little bralette, maybe something like that. If I could find a way to make something like this, but that offered support, because this is not it. Cute as it might be, and maybe if you have not already had children, maybe it's also different, but there's no support in this. But it's cute. See, so I just learned how to crochet a couple months ago, and this was months ago, 2 months ago, that I made this. Like, this is already like in the past. So go on YouTube, go on TikTok. You can find a ton of tutorials. I just freehanded this. I just used the yarn that I had at home. Actually, the reason I actually started to crochet is because I had found a little flower puff pillow or blanket that I found online. This one woman was making it, and she was making an entire blanket out of these little puffy flowers. And so I started making these, and I started attaching them all together, and realized that that would take forever to make a blanket. I think I've got enough to make a pillow. So I can do that. But yeah, especially if you have ADHD, the freedom to do whatever you want craft-wise, and then the routine or structure of choosing a project where you can just mindlessly go around and around, I highly recommend crochet. Oh. All right, well, the sun is setting almost enough that I can go and take my little doggies for a WALK. So I think I'm going to do that. Thank you so much for joining. If you haven't already, please do subscribe, and I look forward to hanging out another time.